Hello, everybody, and welcome to Table Takes. My name is Marcus Mason. I am joined by some absolutely wonderful folks. This is, of course, Table Takes, Gen Con TV's flagship news show. We're going to cover the latest and greatest of happenings in the table tape space as best as we can. But before we get into that, I would like to see what all of these lovely folks have been up to this week, and I'm going to put one of them on the spot to describe, and I've already threatened Bonsai, but I've had one of my unpredictable changes of heart. Javion, what was your week like?
Well, I don't know if you guys remember, but I have been unable to climb recently just because I had like an injury. I'm a climbing instructor when I'm not doing the show with you guys. I like to teach people how to climb indoors and stuff. And with this injury, I haven't been able to climb. It's been 2.5 months. And I was able to climb this week with no pain whatsoever. I was able to like, teach and everything like that. So I'm really excited about that. There's a big competition last weekend where everybody came to the gym, and you got to sort of climb whatever you wanted to and just record what you did. And you get entered into a big raffle, which I think is super fun for people who are like not super competitive, but they also want to like try hard. So it's definitely the biggest one in the whole state of Washington. And I had a lot of fun. One of my really good friends got into the finals for like the hardest level of the competition, and I'm planning on being there next year. So
That's awesome.
wish me luck.
Have you ever done a competition or any kind of climbing competition before, or never before?
No, but I have done a Super Smash Brothers competition or two in my day, and let me tell you, way harder, absolutely way more physically taxing. I would get the sweats and like the shakes all the
Okay, who
time.
did you main? Who did you main in this tournament? Who did you main? I have to know.
Well, I was a low tier main, actually. I only played low tier characters who were like the worst of the
Mm.
worst. So I played Falco in
Okay, get
Smash
out. No, get out. We're
4.
moving on. We're moving on. We are moving on. As much as I
It
Ugh,
love
wasn't melee
Falco?
Falco,
Falco, it was
listen,
different. It was Smash
Falco is a
4.
great guy.
Bruh.
He's helped me take on Andros year after year after year when I needed his help. He defended me, but I will not defend you playing him. We are moving on. I'm sorry. I'm getting too heated. I'm getting too heated. Noir, I need to know what's up with you. Javion, you have crossed the line, buddy.
You've
You have
crossed the
crossed the
line, buddy.
line.
Too
Okay.
far. Hey, what have I been up to this week? Oh, I'm glad you asked. I have been chilling, playing a whole lot of Dragon Ball Sparking Zero. I cannot recommend that game enough. If I see you playing it, I will make my way to your lobby and throw the most devious of hands at you. My crew is unstoppable. Other than that, I've been just catching up on a lot of shows that I've missed. From It's a really good spooky show, perfect for the season. Um, The Penguin. If you like crime thrillers, it's the way to go. And I've got to catch up on Agatha All Along because I will be running a Agatha All Along themed one shot over on Start Playing Games. So if you'd like to play a spooky Marvel game, let me know.
Ooh, that's awesome. I got to remember to get that link to drop it in there because that is when you do that, we'd love to promote that because that sounds so cool. I would love to hear that. I have not watched a single thing about Agatha all the way, but I do love Catherine Hahn. I've been a Han supporter. I've been a part of the Han dynasty for a long time. I love her. Uh,
Uh,
um,
Agatha All the Way is the Christmas version.
Yeah.
is, is that not what it's called? I don't know. Agatha, some of the journey. Yes. Okay.
Agatha some of the
Correct.
time is the small version. I love your version.
It's a game you can play on your phone. It's the mobile game version of it. Uh, that sounds awesome, Demar. Thank you so much for not crossing a line with me today.
I would never.
Thank you. But next and last but not least, of course, I would love to check in with the wonderfully made up Bonsai Baby.
Well, I found out that like Halloween decorations have skyrocketed since the last time. I just wanted to get
Prices.
a nice inflatable pumpkin to put in my front yard, and the one that I thought would be great, which is a 15-foot pumpkin, inflatable pumpkin that I could fill up my whole yard, is like $200, and I don't have $200 to spend on that.
$200.
Yeah, I'm just like, okay, never mind. I don't need this decoration. So I just got two pumpkins, regular pumpkins that I am gonna carve later because I'm cheap. And then also every skeleton that is of my height, even is like $70. So people who have a bunch of skeletons that are human size, that's $70 a pop. Or actually, for the ones that are my size is like a little bit shorter, but the 6-foot skeletons are $99. My height skeletons are $70. So that's where are people spending all this money on Halloween decorations? Jeez.
That is far too much money for me to. I just have to go find regular bones. Just go find your bones.
Regular bones.
Go find. I'm gonna tell you. This is my advice to you. This is not an official thing from Gen Con TV. This is just from Marcus Mays. You can look me up with that name. Find your bones. Go out there and find your bones. Don't pay $70 for bones. Get out there, make them if you gotta. That's my official advice. Bonsai, I love this makeup. You look fantastic with those. I always love those eyes. I never have been able to pull that kind of big doll-eyed thing that you're doing off. I don't know. What
like
called.
Yeah, it's a combination of the doll eyes plus like subculture of I think Garu in Japan. They do this kind of makeup style, but they do a lot more of like brown bronzer and like highlighters, like real. But yeah, it's a combo of that. But yeah, a little getting into the Halloween spirit.
What's your what would be the ideal or maybe the epitome of the creepy dummy kind of character?
Ooh,
like
it definitely. I have a real bad thing for like the porcelain China dolls kind of thing. I used to have one as a kid with the exact same, like, my human name on there. They bought it because they're like, oh, it's sweet, she'll take care of it. And I only took care of that doll because I didn't want it to curse me. That's the only reason I kept care of that doll, because I was like, at that time they gave it to me. I was like, no. Porcelain dolls are already cursed. I hate them so much. And so when I moved away to come here to the mainland, I left that doll behind because that's the only way I shouldn't be able to be cursed.
Have you ever? I've always assumed all dolls and toys were gonna curse me when I was a kid. That's why. Have you guys ever seen this movie called Toy Story?
Yes.
I was just
never
checking.
heard of it.
Never heard of it. Okay. So there's a scene where the toys. There's this one kid who's like bullying the toys and like messes up the toys and like cuts them up and chops them to pieces. And then the toys turn their head and like try to like do a scary movie sequence at this kid. Sorry for the spoilers of this movie. They do like a scary thing at this kid. And I was like, when that happened, I was totally on board with Tom Hanks's Woody. But then when he did that, I was like, I knew it. I knew they could do that to someone. I never trusted toys after that point, at least until Toy Story 2. But that is not what today is about. It is wonderful to catch up with the three of you and hear what's going on in your lives and your days. But we have news to get to. So let us hop into the news. We have some news about the next evolution in social deduction. Noir, would you take us through this?
Absolutely. And today I get to tell you about Staked, which is the next evolution in social deduction games. Like Werewolf, Stakes sees one team of players attempting to successfully uncover the identity. How can I start so confidently without mentioning that this is our exclusive news from Alex Meehan? So shout out to you, buddy. But like Werewolf, Stakes sees one team of players attempting to successfully uncover the identity of hidden opponents while the other team does everything in their power to remain undetected until the end of the game. Whereas Werewolf is centered around the scenario of a village being picked off by a pack of shape-shifting monsters, werewolves, obviously, that only attacked at night. As the name suggests, Staked is about an organization of vampire hunters who have been infiltrated by devious blood suckers. Players can choose from a cast of 10 unique characters, each with their own backstories and reasons for being there. Whereas a player's hidden identity, a hunter or vampire, is secretly assigned to them. This means that the other players won't, at least initially, know whose side each player is on, and that's the meat of the game. I do love the idea of adding a little bit more to this concept by giving players backstories and reasons to be suspicious that might adhere to the backstory, but might not actually let them be on the other side. I think that this is going to be a pretty fun one. It's on Kickstarter right as we speak, so definitely recommend checking it out. There's 12 days to go. They had a goal of $3,624, and they're already at $37,232 with 573 backers. The art in this is just utterly amazing. It's a fun, easy, and accessible game to have at parties. So if you want to spark things up, definitely pull this bad boy out. It can play up to 6 to 10 players, and the play time is 45 to 90 minutes. And this game is appropriate for ages 12 and up. So definitely check it out. The assets that come with this game are absolutely gorgeous. There are beautiful card pieces and character turners. Definitely recommend this one. Check it out.
That is that's wonderful to see what comes from Werewolf. I've never played Werewolf specifically. I think I've played I've played I think a version of it in college, like Mafia, but I've never played Werewolf. Have any of you played Werewolf before?
Sure.
Yes.
Oh yeah, all the time.
My first game of werewolf, I knew that Waluigi was the werewolf, but I was like, no, just because they're dressed up like Waluigi does not mean
Okay.
they are and they were. I should
I
just
thought
trust
Waluigi was
my
just a
gut.
friend of yours. The name of a friend of yours. I didn't realize you were at a
No,
convention.
it's Waluigi.
Just-
I was like, no, I know this person's it. And it was random strangers that I was playing with. And I was like, suspicious the whole time. But no, everyone's like, no, you're just being biased. And I was right. I was right the whole time. They were the werewolves. Sorry, not to go off on a tangent. But that's what the game does to you. It makes you very mad.
Well, I love to see that passion, and I hope to see more of that when Staked comes out. I would love to get my hands on that and try that out. That looks like a lot of fun. Thank you so much, Noir, and thank you so much, Alex Meehan, for that. But next up, we have some troubling news, more unfortunate troubling news coming out of Mythic Games. It's been a bit of a ride. Bonsai, would you take us through what that's looked like and what's coming potentially on the future?
Yes, the biggest wave that's been happening in board game news today, especially Kickstarter and crowdfunder news. Thank you to Mike Didymus True of Board Game Wire for giving us this article. So Mythic Games, if you are not familiar, a long troubled publisher, who successfully raised over $12 million between games of Darkest Dungeon, Rainbow Six Siege, Hail, and Ancestry, seems to be having a lot of mismanagement issues, sinking them deeper and deeper into debt for years now. Well, it just became clear that just kind of like in the background, they were more of the background things. It became clear, especially like during 2022 when they announced that their biggest Kickstarter, which was Darkest Dungeons, they weren't able to fulfill those pledges unless backers collectively paid up to $18 to $69 each. They later followed up that year, announcing that they will be outsourcing their entire team following up this January by selling the rights to Hell and Ancestry, two games that they raised $3.2 million on, they also weren't able to deliver. CMON, of course, taking the rights of those games and making them and giving people who funded the Kickstarter a little bit of a discount, but not giving them their version of the free game. But basically, late last week, Mythic Games filed for bankruptcy and liquidation in France. And many places reported this news as if the company has already closed up shop. But Mythic is actually based in Luxembourg. So this was just them closing their French legal identity. So this is them kind of like, we're partially closing down. Not everything, though, so it's not everything set in stone. That being said, Board Game Wire spoke to the company's co-founder, who confirmed that they were only remaining in operations to attempt to collect on some payments from creditors, and that they will be announcing whether or not they will be closing their door at the end of this month. So if you're one of those people that are hoping Darkest Dungeon 2 Darkest Dungeon Wave 2 pledges and rewards will come out, they're not going to come out. We reported on this before about an anonymous donator donating for people to get their games sent out. It seems like those donations that anonymous donators' money to get games sent ended up going somewhere else. So I kind of want to know what y'all are feeling about Mythic Games as a company after all of this.
Well, not great. I'm noting that, like, at the end, there was the denying any embezzlement of money, which is good. I guess we'll see what comes of that. That sounds. I don't know what could have happened and where this money could have gone aside from just not to the right places. Uh, that's nuts to hear this. When you brought this up earlier, I was surprised. I'm like, this is that same company. This is still happening. The last thing I remember was that they were bailed out by some anonymous fan or anonymous donor. That's wild. JV on Noir, you got any thoughts on that?
I'm just surprised by how many different people reporting on this kind of thing got it so wrong. I'm wondering where the miscommunication happened. I guess we can't blame people too much just because, these things, they tend to like snowball out of control a little bit. Not to mention, I mean, board game news. When things get a little bit slow, I think we all tend to try to boost the engagement a little bit. I think we're all guilty of that to some extent. But I'm glad to see that at least Board Game Wire is actually speaking to the co-founder, or at least the company in general, and actually finding out the real truth there.
I can't imagine what that anonymous donor must be feeling right now. Like, to step up to make sure that people got what they paid for, and to have that taken, like, that don't sit right with me. That's rough. That's rough, buddy.
Yeah, this is a deeply unfortunate story, and it's still not the end, even though we do have that this is probably the end of this. We will keep up to date on what happens with Mythic Games. Hopefully, some good news will come out of it, but at the very least, maybe we'll figure out what happened and where people's money went. But next up, we have some interesting news coming out of Rainer Kitsna. I'm going to pronounce that incorrectly, but we have Bitewing Games making some really cool moves out of some really interesting games. Javion, this project is exciting to you, and it means it's exciting to me. So please, what do you got to say about this?
Sure. Really quick shout out to Board Game Geek's W. Eric Martin for the article here. So Reiner Knizia has been teasing a secret epic project. He's kind of a fun guy. If you check out the article and scroll all the way down to the bottom, you'll see a YouTube video that he made in order to announce / confess about this trilogy that he's coming out with. I think it's a really cute video, to be honest. If you look at it, they added a bunch of like green screen effects and stuff, but you can clearly see that he took like a silver wide brim hat and just cut off the front part of it to make it look more spacey. Now, you guys know I'm not the biggest sci-fi expert. I'm interested with the idea of it all, but I never really grew up with it. So stuff like this has never really hit my table often enough. So I'm really trying to make that change. So Bitewing Games has decided to create 2 updated editions of older Reiner Knizia games and 1 new design. And they're calling this the Cosmic Silos Trilogy. Now, in this article, we can see all 3 of the different games, and they have they have like a bunch of really interesting things in common. First of all of the names are acronyms. Silos, their first game, is Secret Interlopers from Outer Space. And it's all about aliens that you play as in the game coming to Earth, finding cows and being completely smitten by them, and then deciding, unfortunately, they're too tranquil to harness, I guess. So they'll go with their second choice, humans. So you're going to brainwash them, corral them, and try to abduct them. And you can even check out their Crop Circles expansion, which has more elements of long-term strategy. So it seems very interesting. It's got a 2 to 4 player base, and it's going to lead right into the second game, which is Ego, the extraterrestrial greeting organization. In this game, for 2 to 5 players, they're actually sort of transforming one of the older 2005 games, Beowulf, the Legend, to be something more, as they say, modern. But if you ask me, it's a little bit more future than modern. But anyway, you're all the different governments of the world forming a coalition called Ego to go out into space and contact aliens. It's like kind of our last hope to contact extraterrestrials. But of course, all of the governments cannot work well together, meaning they're competing for prestige, and you've got all these different missions and events that come up that you have to be the most influential in terms of saving everyone or keeping the mission alive, without sabotaging each other too much. So that sounds pretty promising. And then the final game here is called Orbit. Orbit is the orbital race between interstellar tourists. I'm not sure what the rules are for making acronyms, but something about using the word of the acronym inside the first letter of the acronym, Orbit, orbital race, whatever, it's totally fine. This one is about not trying to get to space, but rather trying to race through space. You're racing different civilizations. It's a 24th century tactical space race, where you're on this huge hexagonal board. You've got all these different pieces. You've got a path to victory, and you kind of try to upgrade your ship and knock everybody out on your way to the finish line. These all look really fun to me. You can actually see the crowdfunding campaign. We've got a link in Twitch chat if you want to check it out, all the way through November 20th. So we've got a really, really long campaign going, where you can check out all the different stretch goals and follow along with all the updates as they continue to develop the game and make this a final product for everybody. So I'm hoping to see this in retail where it's a little bit more affordable for me. And I can try out some of these games maybe at your local game store where they got like demo copy or something like that, because these seem like pretty hefty games, especially for somebody like me, like I said, who hasn't really been involved with sci-fi stuff too much. The art itself is the biggest thing that like drew me in, of course. I love I wouldn't say minimalistic, but it's definitely got like not too much going on the front cover. It really makes you think you're playing a simple game, or at least something medium weight. So I'm definitely looking forward to trying this out. Thanks again to Board Game Geek for the article.
Awesome, Javion. Thank you so much for bringing that to our attention. Now, from one side of the cosmos to the other, Warhammer, Noir. Give us some insight on what's going on there.
Yes, brother. Gamers Workshop unveils Warhammer 40K Kill Team starter set. They've announced the 40K Kill Team starter set, an entry-level miniature box set, which will be available for pre-order soon. The new starter set comes fresh off the announcement of the Hivestorm launch set that kicked off the new edition of the Kill Team rules. This box set comes with 2 squads of push-fit miniatures from 2 different generations of Space Marine Hero blind boxes. It also comes with a 64-page rulebook that is designed to guide players through the first few Kill Team missions and offer some advanced rules and extra mission conditions. Additionally, the set comes with terrain tokens and a board to play on. For those unfamiliar with push fit, if you put together a Gundam model, most likely you'll understand what it is. It's just models that kind of snap together. Generally, Warhammer requires a little bit of gluing, more to do. So this is essentially a way for this to be even more accessible to newbies. I really like it. I think that this is going to be great for getting more people involved into the lore and the world of Warhammer. But I'm curious to know what you all think. So what do you think about this new Kill Team set?
I just want to say really quickly how proud I am to see that they're putting 2 squads in the box, meaning you've got all in one. Maybe you still have to paint it, but I don't think it's that common. Maybe Nora, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think it's all that common to have everything you need in one box. In my experience, whenever I've tried to play Warhammer, it's been like, oh, great. So where's your second box? When are you sending the second, third, fourth people over to buy their own so that they can play with us? So I'm really happy to see that.
Yeah, it's something that they've been doing more and more recently. So yeah, you're definitely right on that. Sorry, what were you saying, Marcus?
No, I just love that this is we've covered them a lot in the last year and a half and how they've made the game on a smaller scale more accessible to people. Like it's cool to see oh gosh, I'm Games Workshop do this. Like they've made it so that even I can check in with my barista at my favorite coffee shop and they can just tell me that they're playing the whatever Space Marine 2 and that's their into Warhammer. And that world. I love how it's becoming just more and more accessible in various different routes. If they get a TV show, it's done.
Yeah, I think Games Workshop is making a lot of really good like ideas. Like one, this is very much an entry level. Hey, look, the miniatures are already painted. It's a small enough map. You can get a little bit of taste before you try to build your mega armies that cost thousands of dollars. Especially if you get the metal type, and then you can get into figure painting. But I think even I like to give kudos to Games Workshop also behind the scenes because they're also very well known for treating their like all their employees from the warehouse up like really good. And you pay for the quality and you pay for people who are running a good business that care about who are like from every level who they're producing and how they're producing, so they're making a good team. So I just kind of wanted to give a shout out to that. And yeah, come on, we do need like a grimdark, futuristic space odyssey needs to come to the mainstream. Because yeah, who is it that I was thinking of? He left. Gosh darn it, he was Superman at one point, and then
Henry Cavill.
Yeah, Henry Cavill. What happened? I thought you were supposed to make a movie. The
You know
TV
what?
series.
Yeah, I gotta keep rubbing that in our faces. All right.
I was prepared for him to be the God Emperor. I don't know.
Speaking of good ideas, I'd like to give you a next headline that I don't necessarily think is one. I'm going to tell you this in advance before I read this. I want to say thank you so much to Jeffrey Dome Sanchez of ICV2. GameStop will become an authorized PSA dealer. Card authentication will be available through select locations. So the GameStop Corporation has teamed up with collectors via their professional sports authenticator division to become an authorized PSA dealer. This is a deal between GameStop and collectors that brings a whole new dimension to GameStop's retail stores. I am wary about this. I think it's pretty clear that GameStop is not I think their business practices are a little messy. I wouldn't trust them grading my cards. I think their resale, be wary, support local game stores, especially in a time right now where we're hearing that people who are grading cards for eBay, high-end cards, are not making a livable wage. I can't imagine that this is going to help people make a living wage off of this kind of stuff. That's just my opinion on that. We don't have to talk about that too much. Anyone have anything they want to share about this?
Oh, okay. I think that it is the height of confusion that gamers have had the experience of getting screwed over by GameStop, like for eons. Like, you buy a game at $60 retail. A week later, you go to trade it in and you get like $15. Like that has been the general universal experience with GameStop. And really, one of the main reasons that they're around right now is because those same people, those same gamers that got the $15 trade-in value for the $60 game they just got, thought it would be funny to make a meme stock and keep this company alive. I personally don't feel that GameStop has warranted any good. I don't think that their reputation puts them in a place where I'm comfortable with them having this. Is how I will boil that down.
Did you ever see that movie Dumb Money that they made?
Oh, with Paul Dano?
Paul Dano.
I have
Yeah.
not seen it, no.
It's all about that whole situation, and they just like kind of recreate all of the like phenomena around like the YouTube videos that were posted, and the big stockholders that were super upset about it and trying to get them taken out or like sued and all that stuff. Yeah, it's wild.
It's amazing that they made a movie about that. That for me is more amazing than the actual thing that happened. That the movie actually got made, and there was like, yeah, there's enough time has passed. This is a big enough story. We have to commit it to screen. Yeah. So this is
it is quite.
Go ahead, Bonsai.
Yeah, sorry.
No,
No,
please,
I was
go
gonna
ahead.
say it is quite interesting because last week you did say that eBay, yeah, is having problems with people not getting, like, the people who were authenticating, who were doing all this stuff, are not getting like the pay they need. And then suddenly, out of nowhere, next week we get talks about GameStop coming an official card. I don't know. It just seems suspiciously coincidental, but maybe that's just me looking at things. Somebody seeing stuff like that. I don't know. But yeah, support your friendly local game store. And if you want to, you could even play Trading Card Store Simulator that's out on Steam right now if you really want to get the feeling of authenticating cards and all that jazz.
That's great, Bonsai. I'm gonna have to check that out. That is a wild game concept. There's every kind of simulator out there, and it seems like there's gonna be one for me, I'm sure. Thank you, Bonsai, for all your insights. Thank you so much, Javion and Noir. But next up, we have a little discussion. Maybe not little. We have a discussion of some kind of indeterminate scope and scale. Bonsai, would you like to tell us about this?
All right,
Explain.
folks, with our discussion of today, I'm gonna go ahead and settle you into what I am talking about with digital accessories for in-person tabletop play. So last week, I don't know if you remember, we talked about the new game, that announcement of the new game coming out called Sunderfolk, that basically is kind of like a little bit of trying to merge the in-person tabletop experience while working with your smartphone. It's like a Gloomhaven plus Jackbox simulator, or not Jackbox, no, Jackbox all into one. That game got me thinking about other efforts to merge in-person tabletop games with digital accessories, going all the way basically back to Dark Tower with its tiny computer process moves, without getting without touchscreens getting with touchscreens and a lot of technology getting cheaper and cheaper. All of us are carrying, of course, small mini computers in our pockets. There have been more and more tabletop gaming companies trying to figure out how to blend digital aids and accessories in play. So some of the examples that I was able to dig up is like Mansions of Madness 2nd edition, which handles a lot of the rules and overhead with apps, so people can like ease into learning it without having, some folks like me have that designated friend that reads the rule books, and we say, let's play. Hi, Javion. Dune Imperium companion app, which has also served as an AI for solo play, and apps of Star Wars Imperium Assault, which also allow for co-op play as well. A bunch of also games, a bunch of devices that come along with this is like Infinity Game Table, the Tabaroo, and Game Board One, which sought out to replace physical board games with a single interactive device that could be played and manage on any number of manage any number of board games. Some bunch of random apps that I also came across that I'm like, oh wow, I didn't know these existed while I was doing this. Dizzy, DIZED teaches you how to play games on the fly so you don't have to read through the rule book. It has a lot of various names. And also Mellow Dice, which is a game that will generate ambient music for the board game you're playing. Now, with all of these examples in mind, I kind of want to know where you guys sit on the digital aids and accessories. Do you like the idea of it, but you haven't found anything that really delivers yet? Do you already use some? And also, are you one of those people that are hardcore, no digital, all in person, kind of thing, like no cell phones on my gaming table kind of person?
I'd like to chime in with I think that you can have it all in the sense that life is good, but it can be better. No, I think Pixel Dice hits the sweet spot for that. Pixel is it's a die that you can roll in real time, or like in real meat space, and it'll put the result digitally. So, for example, if you and I were playing a game on Roll20, I could roll this physical die, and then Roll20 would register what the result was.
Ooh.
And I think that that's the sweet spot that I'd like to see a lot more accessories going into, where it can function as purely a die, but it also has a digital function as well. I think that we need to start considering that we should remove the line, like not just having things that are digital, because if support is lost for it, very much like a lot of the old MMO or games as a service games we have seen that just go dark once there's no support for it. um like, I think that we should have things that exist both digitally and physically so that it's always there. Like, we get our money's worth. So, highly recommend Pixel. If you don't have one, go pick it up. I think they're available now.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm I don't like it to be the only way to play, but I love seeing things like you mentioned. Dune Imperium's companion app allows you to play it by yourself if you don't have someone to play it with. If you want to actually go through the
Yeah.
game, that is a cool tool for that. Like the game that I played the most digitally is the remake of Dark Tower. I love the Dark Tower game. I love the app. It's pretty fun. But like that's probably the game that I've done the most digital with. Javion, do you have any experience with these games?
Time for my mini rant.
Okay. Here we go. Let's do it.
Bonsai, as soon as you brought this up, I immediately thought of Kickstarters and all of the lofty promises of digitized gaming that's just gonna send us into the future. Ooh, holograms, digital dice. How many times have we seen people say, we've invented this thing, it's gonna be amazing. Look at all the demos that we've got, actual product on the table. You're gonna get such a cool product, and you're gonna be the first one to get it too. And you're not even gonna have to wait that long because we've got an estimated date. And then what happens? Oh no, shipping delays. Oh no, production delays. Oh no, we can't fund it anymore, even though you already gave us thousands of dollars. Whoopsie. I guess we'll just have to do it again and have to collect more money and try it another time. I it would be cool if it worked and if it happened. I feel like a ton of people just jumped the gun. I feel like we didn't wait long enough for the board game boom to hit its peak and for companies to really latch on so they could help make these products happen. You blame it on quarantine, blame it on a bubble burst or whatever. I don't care. Just I'm waiting to see it in a store. I'm not doing the whole invent me a product and let me get it on the ground floor of it thing anymore. If you ask me, the closest thing that I'm getting to any digitized board gaming beyond like something that's app assisted are those giant tables that like augment all of like the pieces that you put on them. Those things actually work. Okay, I was at PAX this year and I saw people who brought those tables to play RPGs, and you could see that they had set up the whole scenario with all the pictures, all of the miniatures and stuff. When you put them down, it shows the stats right next to it. When you roll your dice on it, it can actually tell you what the result is, adding it all together with your bonuses and all that stuff, all the character sheets and everything there. Granted, the only reason none of us have one is because we can't afford it, but you can't tell me you wouldn't if it wasn't 50, if it was $50, if it was like $100, you can't tell me you wouldn't have that in your room right now, making money off of it, going on Start Here or whatever it's called, and like selling off your time to run D&D for people.
Speaking of the augmented reality side of it, we were talking a little bit about this. There's a company I wanted to give a shout out to. They're doing some really interesting stuff in the digital augmented reality versions of tabletop games. Infinite Rabbit Holes. As a developer, they made the big box set, the Arkham Asylum Files, Panic in Gotham City. There is so much going on in that app and how you build the world and solve puzzles and go do detective work and clues. Some stuff that I've never seen done before, and they have a specific software that they've been designing and developing for quite some time. They have a new game that I got to see at Gamma this year called Seven Impossible Things. It is a fully augmented reality adventure with some physical components of it. Like it is just genuinely so cool. Like, I want to see more advancements of that, and I think whenever this comes out, I think that's going to be that's going to be one I'm going to pick up.
I feel like Like, I agree with Javion. If they made it more affordable for a lot of people, because there are some companies that do like the like interactive board game tables where it's like touchscreen, where it has like a digital chip in every figurine or reads the table. But the money is the price point, and I just haven't seen like any. Come on, Jeff Bezos or somebody or Bill Gates, show us your gaming room with like all the really cool stuff, because I haven't seen it yet. But maybe if I ever become a bajillionaire, that would be my goal. But I feel like maybe the big jump, other than of course augmented reality for like glasses that people are trying to do right now, is just doing it through connecting it through your smartphone devices. I feel like that is a good way. A lot of people already have a smartphone that it is capable of processing a lot of things. And if there's some way to kind of like seamlessly connect all of that together, and it's at affordable, like a lot of people, although not everyone can afford a smartphone, a lot of people can, so it becomes more accessible, and then that accessibility allows for people to develop cooler and cooler projects. I think it's more of like the funding that's really the big hurdle for a lot of folks, with a lot of these like digital accessories. So just have to wait and see.
Awesome. Bonsai, this was a wonderful discussion. I loved hearing all of your thoughts on this. But it is now time for us to move on to Crowdfunder Court. Dun 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 dun. Where's the button? It's right here. Welcome to Crowdfunder Court. Here come the judges. Prepare to be judged. All right, court is now in session.
Hello, welcome back. We are going to be talking about this crowdfunder from Backer Kit called Monster of the Week, Slayer's Survival Kit, and Hunter's Journal. So if you have been watching, and I know you guys have been tuning in every week, you know how much I love Monster of the Week. It is a super fun RPG system designed around the Monster of the Week trope that you'll see in any TV show or movie series, where every single week or every single episode, there's a new monster to fight. And it usually follows some sort of long arc. I have a Monster of the Week campaign that's been going for over a year now, and we started using it as soon as their relaunch happened with the new Codex of Mysteries and their sort of updated rule sets. And now we have a backer kit, a crowdfunder, all about new tools to use at the table. The Slayer's Survival Kit comes with 9 new playbooks for hunters. That's what we call the players. 9 new team playbooks. Those are the arcs that everybody comes together to fight monsters in. New weird moves, new gear, assets, and much, much more. Well, the thing I'm most excited about from this book are all the tips and advice that they're going to be giving out, because I, like many other role-playing game masters, struggle to feel confident at the table. Sometimes I'm insecure. Sometimes I make mistakes and I ask my players for help, and sometimes they help, and sometimes I go onto the internet and try to get help that way. But I have to say, out of all the different systems I've played, the thing that holds my hand the most is Monster of the Week. They talk about a countdown. They talk about how games are supposed to be run, not just in general with philosophy, but their kit specifically. And next, we also have the Hunter's Journal, which comes with new story arc options, new threats and mysteries for the keepers, that's the game masters, to deploy out onto the table, and even more guidelines for making your own hunter stories. Because I love homebrewing. There are many people out there that don't like to read, that don't like to find modules and then just run them as written, and always eventually end up modifying them to their personal taste or to their player's theme or their world's theme eventually anyway. So I could definitely use all of these different tools. There are so many really cool stretch goals attached to this as well. We've got the Slayer's Dice, which are some metal D6s, which are the staple for playing Monster of the Week. There are hardcover versions of the game, as well as Hunter's Coins, also made out of metal, where you can see all the different modifiers, +1s and -1s attached, as well as whether or not you're stable or dying, unstable, right? All of these really cool designs to just enhance the table. But my favorite addition here is the Investigator's Casebook. Monster of the Week is all about not just slaying monsters, but also finding them, investigating the mystery surrounding them. And this casebook comes with so many different tools for the players to keep track of their notes. There's character sections to structure your hunter stats and history. There's the mystery section to give space for assessing the situation, writing down your clues and evidence, really making you feel like an investigator. And then the reference section at the end, which gives the hunter concepts, the basic moves, and all the alternative weird moves. So it's not just about using magic. Sometimes it's just about pushing your limits, right? There's so much stuff here. I am breathlessly ranting and raving about. Definitely go check it out. You can see that they not only have the hardcover versions, the PDF versions, and community copies to give to people who can't afford all of this stuff, but you can also instead grab the Roll20 bundle if you're one of those folks who plays online with all of the special tools that they have on the VTT experience. So definitely check out this backer kit crowdfunder. They've already hit their goal of 50K and they're well on their way to 100,000. You've got 27 days left to check it out and grab it, as well as add-ons like just getting the hardcover books for the original core rules of the game. So definitely go check that out now.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Javion. That's wonderful. I
Heck
always love to see
yeah.
more Monster of the Week content coming out. It's one of my favorite games I've gotten to play. But there is so much to cover on Crowdfunder Court. We have so many good crowdfunders this week. That was BackerKit. From BackerKit over to Kickstarter Noir. Would you take us through what you found for us?
I would like to tell you all about Emergent. Emergent is a tabletop role-playing game about high school interdimensional monsters and the unlikely heroes that have to face both. In Emergent, you're playing high schoolers that discover they have superpowers just in time to realize an interdimensional monster has just entered their hometown. This gaming draws inspiration from media like Stranger Things, X-Men, Supernatural, and Super 8. In Emergent, you aren't traditional superheroes. You're just kids, not trained soldiers, but you do have powers, but you're only just starting to learn them. So it'll be a while before you're in any tights and flights. You're not going to be X-Men anytime soon. The monsters, on the other hand, are extraordinarily powerful. They're 10 times stronger than you and can shrug off bullets with ease. They'll mutate to adapt to take advantage of your worst fears, and they rarely follow the laws of physics that you are unfortunately bound to. But by crossing over into our dimension, they do develop strange and almost nonsensical weaknesses. Bulletproof scales might dissolve in salt water. Their skin might burn like paper or become brittle around temperatures that are nowhere near close to freezing. It's going to be up to you and your party to investigate these monsters, their layers, and observe their behaviors in order to exploit these weaknesses. You're gonna have access to some pretty cool powers. Thermal will give you the ability to control time. Polarity will give you the ability to manipulate electronic objects. Stormbenders can manipulate the weather. And each power comes with their own power tree with 15 nodes, so you can get stronger in them as you progress. But keep in mind, you are a teenager. You are in high school. So that factors as well. Responsibilities are going to be a key feature of this game where you have to maintain your regular life. Unfortunately, your English teacher isn't going to take the interdimensional monster ate my homework as an excuse for not turning in your paper on time. And this kind of thing can present strain, which is another key feature of this system. The more you're dealing with high school and these monsters, the more strain your character will be under, which will manifest in a number of ways. For example, sleepless nights. And if you're having sleepless nights, you're not going to be as prepared for the day, and your homework and your grades will most likely suffer. And of course, if you're facing down interdimensional monsters, there will be fear as well, which is another key factor of this system. This game had a goal of $2,250. They've currently crushed the goal with $4,000 with 40 backers and 12 days to go. So if you want to relive the golden days of high school, and add a little bit of monster sauce to it, this is the system for you. So go check it out. It's a good one.
That is awesome, Noir. Thank you so much for bringing that to our attention. I always love the slice of life elements between the big stuff and X-Men. That was where my love of this content lives. So it's cool to see a game that is actually touching on that.
And there's also a lot of similarities to Monster of the Week, actually. These kind of just like synchronize a little bit together.
Yeah.
Great minds. Speaking of great minds, we actually have a new Terry Pratchett game coming to Kickstarter. Bonsai, would you like to bring this to life through the form of your words?
Yes, Terry Pratchett Discworld RPG Adventures in Ankh-Morpork has been released on Kickstarter. So it's a new Discworld RPG live on Kickstarter, and it's got a pretty robust set of quick start rules and an actual play to check out if you click on that link. The game is set at Ankh-Morpork, if you're familiar with the Discworld, Terry Pratchett's Discworld series, which is a very satire-filled, punny fantasy novel. The Ankh-Morpork being the biggest city in the disc. It is designed to allow for play right alongside of your favorite Discworld characters without them taking over the plot. So designing a comedy RPG is really difficult, but thankfully, the Discworld RPG recognizes that and has explicitly avoided making it a comedy RPG. Even more importantly, for a Modifius RPG, they aren't trying to shoehorn shoehorn their 2D20 system and have designed a system from the ground up to support the Discworld. Discworld is less of a comedy setting than it is a satirical setting, with most of the comedy coming up from the form of wordplay. Reflecting that, this RPG focuses on wordplay and puns as its gimmick and lets the comedy flow naturally from there. The system is built around descriptive traits and encourages players to stretch that meaning of every word just to justify what the bonuses the trait might give you on different rolls. For example, one of the traits that you might put is eager to see more of the world, which a player can argue can reduce fall damage from jumping out a window because they're so eager to see the world that they jump out of the window and they can reduce their fall down. It's trying to, like, you know how if you were to play a lot of like very descriptive RPGs, you're kind of like, well, my character is known for like being like, especially like my superpower being very like, oh, I can create anything. So I can super create a C4 bomb out of midair, and you have to discuss with the DM how far you can stretch it and stuff. So it's more of like a negotiation tactic, and you have to, like, it makes the comedy set in. It looks like a lot of fun, and the Kickstarter itself ends Thursday, November 7th.
Awesome, Bonsai. I always love to see more content coming out of Terry Pratchett. Terry Pratchett is definitely someone I need to put that disc in on a long drive and listen to the entire book on tape and finish my story. Javion, could you finish this story? That was not a good transition. I am my
Who are you, Cody Rhodes?
Ah! Banana.
Thank you, Marcus. This next crowdfunder and our final one for today is Epilogue. Finish Your Story. This is a game by one of my closest and dearest friends and friend of the show, Emma Larkins. This game was actually called And Then We Died and was produced several years ago, actually. 5, I think, by now. And this is a sort of updated, spruced up edition thanks to Anna Maria Phelps and Violet Daisy Games, which is based actually here in Washington, over in Bellingham. Epilogue is a party game. It's a storytelling game. It's a cooperative game about how you died. You're connecting all of these different word fragments on cards and then telling people around you at the table to continue the story. It's interesting in that it starts from the part where you died and then works its way backwards, sort of figuring out all the steps that led to your demise. Look at the cute ghosts. The cute ghosts are the best part about the art update on this game. Everything was very like ooh, a little spooky before, but now it's like bright and vibrant colors, and they've got like a tiny little doggy ghost. Oh my gosh. Anyway, so Epilogue is a game about death initially. It's interesting. I played it before. I had this sort of feeling that I get whenever I tell my players in my D&D games to cause their own misery or be the masters of their own demise in that way, wherein I don't really have like a good idea, but I figure my players might, and they take it on for themselves. They say, "This is how my character dies," or "This is the curse that befalls my character. This is why. This is what this Nat 1 means." And this whole game feels exactly like that. Something about taking control of your own destiny, but also having it be about death. It just sort of flips the whole power fantasy thing on its head. There are lots of different ways to play. They've added a ton of different new components to expand the game, but it's a very simple game at its heart, where it has tarot-sized cards, over 280 different fragments of words to make almost every 3 to 6 letter word in the entire English language. They really worked hard on this game. Also, as a little Easter egg, if you go to the link in chat and scroll down, you can even see a picture of them playing it at Gen Con this year with a surprise noir in the background. So obviously people had a great time playing it. I know I am excited to get my own copy. Emma has promised me, but if I can't, then of course I'll back it just to make sure that they hit their goal. They haven't hit it yet. It's only $8,000, so you can help them get there. There's 24 days left to go. Please go ahead and check it out if you are interested in more storytelling.
Another wonderful
I also must say that
crowdfunder.
that wasn't me. That was a doppelganger. That was my evil twin.
Got it. Okay, understood. Well,
I'm
you can
just
go
kidding.
see Noir's doppelganger then.
This was it's cool. I always love shouting out things from the love of my life, Emma Larkins. I love these games. I have multiple of her games here by my side. Emma, you are wonderful. We have so many awesome crowdfunders this week. We have so much that we've covered, but unfortunately, this is the end of our show. We are done. We are gone, and we are disappearing up until next Friday, when we are right back with more news and these wonderful smiling faces in front of me. But do not go far. Today we are done with Table Takes, but that is not all. We have Sarah's table coming up for a nice little bit of cozy gaming alone. Sarah's gonna be playing a solo game. Very excited about that. But then on Mondays, we have a whole bunch of shows. So let's just kind of talk about it. On Mondays, we have Peter versus the Machine and Dress to Quest. On Tuesdays, we have Hunter the Reckoning with Indie by Night and some miniature painting with Path of Brush. On Wednesdays with Actoroki. Thursdays, we have Blood in the Clock Tower and Shadowrun with Roll with Rem Alternus. Then Fridays, like I said, we are back here on Table Takes, unlike Javion, who just disappeared into the void. Thanks to Gen Con TV, everyone, Peter Atkinson, of course, Steve Connard, Sarah Moore, Jim Slonikowski, and to Nell Lovett. I would like to thank again my wonderful co-hosts, Javion Smith, Bonsai Baby, and the Noir Enigma. Thank you so much for joining us in chat. Thank you so much for following us on here on Twitch. Make sure to leave us a follow if you want to subscribe. We got some cool new emotes happening. But regardless, thank you so much for joining us here for the best 4 days in gaming all year round. See you later, everybody. Mwah. Bye, 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 bye.